Hello and welcome to Call to Arms, and thank you for answering the call. And you join us here tonight. We're going. It's episode 17 of Battlecry, and we're going over the new Gloomspite Gitz tome for Age of Sigmar, and I'm joined by. It's been a wee while, Nathan. I'm joined by Mr. Nathan Watson. Hello.
Hello.
And yeah, we've got you on because you're a bit of a Gitz expert these days. So
these days, I've been a Gitz expert for a while now. I think I'm into my second year of Gitz ownership.
Your second year. Excuse me, no, getting them for Christmas and then going into next year doesn't mean that you're in year 2 of owning Gitz.
This is the second calendar year that I've been a Gitz connoisseur.
Oh god. Well,
lifestyle.
It is.
For Christmas.
You're right. It is a lifestyle, and it's what a life. What a time to be alive. Yeah. So we're going to be diving into this tome. Needless to say, it's had some spicy takes, that's for sure. This book, and yeah, just really looking forward to getting into it and kind of discussing all the kind of juicy stuff about it. Before we do that, I just want to say first of all, thanks everyone for joining us. Thank you to all the subscribers as well. Please make sure that you are clicking the like button and you are clicking subscribe as well, please guys. It helps me out immensely. I'd also like to thank the sponsors that are sponsoring the channel as well. You can see them on screen just now, but we've got Saltire Games up in Dundee. They're offering a code for extra discount as well, which is awesome. So thank you so much to them for offering that. If you need anything at all, just give those guys a message. They're on Facebook. You can do whatever. You can go on their website as well, and you can message them up. I've just ordered some stuff for my World Eaters army that's coming in for 40k, so I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, we've also got a wee code from Mini Magtree as well, so we've got 6% off RRP from those guys as well. So if you need for all your movement trade needs, they're all good to go. And then thank you to our other sponsors, Pro Painted and Accent Gaming as well, for the giveaway. And I think that's about us, mate. I think that's us. So without further ado, shall we
get back in? Sean has said
oh, here we go.
Turn me up a hair.
Oh yeah, no worries.
Quiet or not.
Let's see if I can give you a wee boost, mate. Let's have a look, sec. Maybe you could just be louder, Nathan.
Just shout a bit.
Loud noises.
More Blesky.
Well, there you go. I've boosted you several decibels, so hopefully that's
not rigged it.
Hopefully that's better, and I hope that Nathan isn't making everyone's ears bleed right now.
Hello! I'll start shouting now.
And I might, I wonder if it's maybe just because I'm super loud, so I'll turn myself down a wee bit as well to compensate. We'll go for that. But thanks for that, Sean. Appreciate it. So yeah, shall we dive in then, mate?
I sure think.
Oh, let's do this. Right. So, Gloomspite Gitz. Okay, so Destruction Battletome. We've not had a new Destruction one for quite some time. I think the most recent one was the Mega Gargants. And then we had the Orc Warclans, which was...
Walkers.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
Was that just after Gargants, or was it? I think that was.
I think it was, yeah.
There or thereabouts, anyway.
I think you're right, mate. I think, yeah, it was pretty close. Alright, so this must be the last Destruction tome that was even done for 3rd edition, right?
Yep, I think this was like one of the last 3. I want to say that it wasn't as old as the Beast of Chaos book, though. I think the Beast of Chaos book came out the year before, and Gitz was like the start of the next year.
That's true.
So
because Gitz is OG. Is that OG first edition? Yeah.
No, they did have a 2nd edition.
Right. Okay.
The Beast of Chaos book was, I think, one of the first 2nd edition Battletomes after Nighthaunt and Stormcast, and then Gloomspite was like January after the Christmas, because I remember they did the Christmas Day. The Bad Moon spoke to me Scragrot video, and everybody lost their
oh, that's right. Yeah. Oh, no, yeah, I remember that. That was pretty cool. So this is the last Destruction tome. They've been waiting on a updated book for a wee while, and let's face it, they've not been sitting in a great place. I think for some time now, in terms of like win percentage and stuff like that. They weren't doing doing great things. Obviously, there's some people that might disagree with that. I mean, JP, whoa, he was doing some amazing things with being a bundle abuser and stuff like that with with his Gitz.
They had some very strong builds in the last book very recently. Like there was a couple of 5-0s and a consistent number of 4-1s. It was just jank. It was the same as like when Big Stabbers and stuff like that hit the scene. It was like that level of spam. Like people were playing squigs because there were 72 wound bricks that were immune to battle shock and could be rallied in a 4+. So they were good. It was just it wasn't the type of Gitz anybody wanted to play. Now you can have a good army and have like a Gitz army that you would want to play.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, it was things like Squigs and Kragnos and
Squigs and Kragnos. I was
pretty
seriously considering it for Masters. Yeah, it was a good list.
Pretty cool, I like that. Love a bit of Kragnos in my life. So yeah, so we've got, obviously, as you just kind of said there, Nathan, we've got new play styles with armies that are a bit more diverse. I think the book itself, it does lend itself to multiple different play options. There's multiple different ways you could build your army. It's not as it was quite a lot of the scrolls or the kind of themes got a bit ostracized, I felt, in the last book, because
keyword bingo.
Yeah, it was you had to like really key in hard to this one thing, which means you didn't have access to this thing, and then you couldn't do that and stuff like that. It just feels a lot more open now. So if you want to have trogs in your list, you can have trogs. You want to have squigs, you can have squigs. You want to have little stabs, you can have stabs. You can have spiders, all that kind of stuff. And they all synergize fine within each other. There's little power pairs and little combos with usually kind of with heroes and stuff like that now as well. So yeah, it lends itself quite nicely to kind of a variety of different play styles, which is good to see. But there are some very, very powerful combos within the book as well. I think this book has caught quite a bit of flack in terms of being seen as maybe a bit overpowered.
Yep. 100%.
And I think that
it definitely has caught some flack.
Yeah, that's for
not
sure.
saying it is overpowered. I'm just saying it has caught some flack.
It's got some super flack, and I think also, yeah, and it's definitely, it's one of these things where you definitely see it a lot more when it's released alongside a book like Beasts of Chaos, where they saw major changes to kind of their. I think for a big thing for them, it was points went way up. They lost summoning. They lost quite a bit of things, and the book feels more like a more balanced book. I was having a chat with John, obviously, a couple of weeks ago about the book and how it's maybe in a better place, whereas this alongside that. Yeah, okay, yeah, absolutely. But I think it's one of these things where it doesn't outwardly look like, oh my god, it can do that, it can do what? Whereas this book, we've all seen the list, we've all seen the stats that people have been putting out about certain units and combinations, and it's just like, what?
Yeah. I think it's probably got the symptom as well of the lists that are good now are very close to the lists that were good in the last book. Whereas with Beast of Chaos, it's very much not that. So if you had a good Beast of Chaos army before in the old book, you'd need almost like a whole new army, unless you were a die-hard Beast of Chaos player that had all of the models and stuff. And Beast of Chaos were performing so well, they had that whole sort of tourist following as well, people that weren't really invested into Beast of Chaos and were just along for the ride, whereas Gloomspite Gitz probably has a lot more people that are there for the models as well, because the models are, let's face it, a lot better than a lot of the Beast of Chaos models. No offense to the Chaos enjoyers, but the models are something. There'll be a lot of people that have it. They're easy to get into. They're easy to paint. But I'm willing to put money on it now that the more broken book long term is going to be that Beasts book. We've just not had time to see it. Like, people are sleeping on it for sure, 100%.
Cool.
And there's a couple of things in Gloomspite that probably will get addressed with like points, and a couple of things need FAQ'd. But I think it's a good thing that they're in a strong place.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and it's I just hope that GW do manage to maybe kind of rein it in a bit with them in a good way.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to see this book get completely
don't want to get
completely blasted. I just want to still make it like a good book. You can still get a good army with it, just maybe not as overpowered as it is currently.
I've got a bad track record with destruction books, so I'm not going to hold my breath. But whenever there's anything with destruction, like, oh guys, it might be a bit good, it just gets absolutely squatted while all the point-eared elves are just kind of trolling by on their 2 years of 60% win rate or whatever. So
nothing to see here, nothing to see. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so just catching up with chat before we get in. We've got Scott Smith saying, what up loons, lovely. And we've also got Sean saying, just kind of touching on the beast stuff there, he's saying, to be fair, you don't need a bazillion models for Bok now, he's considering playing it. I'm in the same boat. I love the fact they've removed summoning. I think they should do that for all armies,
for all
really.
armies, yeah.
I hate the fact that you need an other box or
summoning options.
Yeah, it's just that it's also the cost. Like, you need to buy 2k worth of points to fill the list, and then you might need to buy 2k worth of summoning to really hit the optimization of the army as well, because you're like, oh, I might need this model for this, I might need this unit for this, I might need this unit, and it's just, I just get rid, man, get rid. And so I think that's a good thing as well. Anyway, I digress. This is about Gitz, not about Bok, so let's go for it. So we're going to dive in to the book. And the first thing we're going to touch on is the allegiance abilities, because we still have the Bad Moon. The Bad Moon is in, but it has changed slightly. So do you want to hit us up with the changes here, Nathan?
Yep, so it used to be that it started off the board and you had to roll a 4+ to get it on the board. And the only way to guarantee it was with Skragrott. And Skragrott had to be your general.
Oofed.
So that kind of locked you out of a lot of options, because we'll touch on it later when we get to or probably pretty soon when we get to the Loon Shrine. But to bring models back from the Loon Shrine, it was based off of the keyword of your general. So yeah, you were pretty much hamstrung if you wanted to have a more consistent moon. Now you pick a table quarter for it to start in. So you can deploy your army in such a way that you're going to be able to get the benefits of the Bad Moon from the get-go.
Yeah.
It then only ever moves once. So the old version was if you rolled a 6, so it's a 4+ to get it to come onto the board and a 4+ to move to the next segment, like it's displayed in the wee picture you've got there.
Yep.
If you rolled a 6, it would move twice. So that could end up, if you rolled a 6, it could go straight to the middle, which means it affects the entire board. But if it's in the middle and then you rolled a 6, it could then disappear off the board entirely as well. And you'd be left with no allegiance ability.
Yeah, exactly.
The one random feels bad that still exists in the game a little bit is that if you're playing the mirror match, you have a roll off to decide where the Bad Moon starts. So only one Gitz army is going to have their army deployed in the corner with the Bad Moon starting in it. There's other sources of the Bad Moon. Skragrott can give it to you. You can get it from an endless spell, and you get it within 12 inches of your Loon Shrine. So you're always going to be able to start with some benefits, but in the mirror match, only one Gitz player gets the moon in their corner.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
So a lot more control now, and the fact that you will start with it, which is awesome. It's not just a 50-50 where you actually get an allegiance ability. And yeah, so at the start of the second battle round and every battle round after that, you roll a dice, and on a 4+ it just moves once to the next subsequent thing. Yeah, so you'll start on large quarter, then it'll go to the middle, then it'll go to opposite diagonal quarter, and then it'll go off the board if you roll that 4+, yeah.
Very big pivotal moments, especially with everybody playing Skragrott at the moment, just because his scroll's so good. But you can gamble to, like, turn 2, roll to see if it goes to the middle, knowing that you can then Skragrott to keep it in the middle, because he can keep it where it is, which means you can have 2 turns of it all there.
Got you.
Or you can force it there turn 2, and then turn 3, hope you roll a 1, 2, or a 3 so that it stays there as well. 50-50, but it gives you that decision. It's a really good allegiance ability, actually. The benefits it gives are huge.
Yeah.
Which I suppose we should maybe touch on.
Yeah, let's touch on that. So we'll go Light of the Bad Moon, yep. So we've got 4 different benefits here. Depending on what kind of type of unit you've got, your keywords, yep. So you've got Frothing Zealots, Lunar Squigs, Moonlit Hide, and Spirefang Venom. So basically your Zealots is any Moon Clan units. When they rally on a 4+ instead of a 6. There's quite a lot of scrolls with the Moon Clan keyword.
Yes.
Which obviously we will touch on kind of later on. But yeah, 4+ rally. Why is this still a thing, Nathan?
So I can see where they're going with it, and I actually don't think it's one of the things that will change. Like, I think that there was quite a lot of people saying, put it to a 5-up, put it to a 5-up. 5-up rally exists on models with 3 wounds and a 3-up save and a ward save at the moment. Like, very different thing having it on a 6-up save, 1 or 2 wound grot. So, I mean, like, part of their strength is being able to replenish their units. I think that we're maybe seeing a kind of it's seeming really strong because we're still getting hung up on the old meta where there was a lot of shooting, and shooting just doesn't do 60 wounds to a unit to get them to disappear. I think when you start seeing a more combat focused meta, there's stuff that can deal with 60 shooters or 30 squig hoppers and stuff like that in the one go.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, no, 4-up rally. Importantly, it's only if you're wholly within the table quarter or if the moon's in the middle. If you have a unit strung out of the table quarter but is also in range of the Loon Shrine, you must be wholly within range of the Loon Shrine to benefit from the Loon Shrine at all. So there's no way to kind of extend it out. You need to be very clever with your casualty removing in order to benefit from it. So yeah, I think that the 4-up rally might actually be there to stay. And it's anything that has a grot model on it. So squig hoppers, boing grot bounders, sneaky snufflers, Gobapalooza. Like these things all have the Moon Clan keyword and can rally on the 4+.
No, for sure. Just a wee thing there. We've got Goatman999 was saying that for the original moon it was on a 2 to 5 it moved onto the board on 1 space, and on a 6 it moved twice. Yeah, that was the thing. But still,
I knew that there was a way it would never come on.
Yeah, but still not great if you're rolling that 1, obviously. But yeah, so I think
or even if you're moving the 6 and then it's disappearing
it's gone.
through the game.
So perfect. So the rally, I think you're right, because I suppose you do need to look at the models that you are rallying. Yes, for sure.
They do nothing as well, like on their own. Yeah,
I do also. I mean, just the psychological effect, I think, of the 4-up rally, I think is pretty huge. I played against Gitz, the new Gitz book, quite recently at a wee one day. I was against Mark Roberts. He had a Gitz army, and it was 30 squig hoppers. I'd managed to kill that unit down to 3 squig hoppers, and he got 18 back from the rally next.
How many can you fit?
Now that
1 inch of 3 models? This is what I mean.
See, that was the only thing as well. So he was like 18 back, and as he was piling them on, and I was like, hold on a minute. I was like, because obviously Nighthaunt, I'm so used to just bringing models back, and it's like you can't daisy chain out. It's like, no, and like, can you do that? Because like it's returning models, they don't have to still be within an inch of the thing. He was like, oh, turned out you only got 9 back. And you're like, oh thank God. But it's still good. But again, it certainly is something to keep in mind for the ralliers. So if people are getting insane amounts of models back, just keep that in mind. You have to still put them in coherency with the original unit.
I did manage to bring back like 10. I had 1 shooter left. And I have been able to bring back like something, I want to say like 9 or 10 around that one guy, because obviously they're 25 mil, but still, like, it's nuts. And the good thing about rally is it's the start of the hero phase as well. So you do it, and then providing you keep your unit out of combat, even if you lose priority or if it's going into your opponent's turn, you can then do it again. So you can kind of build your bubble up a little bit, and then you can have another go at it when you've got more models.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like these models don't really do much. They die in droves, and it's the buff pieces. Like once people get into the buff pieces, or you get out of range of your buff pieces, that's when you notice that you don't really quite have the same damage that you used to. Lunar squigs is a big one, because a lot of the powerful units at the moment that we're seeing are squigs, like people leaning into the buff and the squigs. This gives them run and charge,
which is awesome.
Now, having the moon on things like Scragrot, or if you're in a position to place your Loon Shrine aggressively, because it's a lot of the territories go halfway up the board. If you're not playing against an enemy monster, you can safely put that up to extend your run and charge range for your squigs. It's quite a good one. +1 save for Trogs is insane, because they actually got a better save, so they're now 4-up base save, so they get 3-up saves against no rend. It's really good.
Yeah, a lot of healing in that build now as well. You can get as well, which is pretty cool. What about the Spirifying Venom? What's your thoughts on that?
Good. Spiders are good. I think that you're just not seeing them because everything else is better. And the models are a bit more dated. Like if I'm getting into Gloomspite Gitz, I'm not looking at the spider models other than the Arachnarok and thinking, do you know, I want one of those. That's a really cool model. But
well, there is a way to get a full Ragnarok list now, which is pretty cool. And I know that Sean McKechnie, who's in the chat, is going to be pretty happy about that. I think he loves some spider action. I mean, before the stream happened, we were having a chat. And I was like, probably spiders is the area I'm least hot on just now. But then you'd made the comments like there's probably still an A-tier list, like spiders you can but it's 100%. just that everything else you can get is also just insane.
There's quite a few S-tier armies right now as well. They just beat everything without a game. You've got Lumineth, Slaves, the Gets list with the Squig Hoppers and Squig Herd and stuff like that. These lists just roll over people that anything that's A-tiered looks really bad. It's a good army. It's a really good army.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Some things just need to get a bit of a nerf bat.
Yes, no, agreed. So let's go on to, we're going to talk about, so it says bosses of the Everdank, so we can't get away from the fact that pretty much every book now is bringing out a heroic action, a kind of unique heroic action that you can do. And these are, well, one of them's pretty nuts, I think. So we've got Beck and the Lunatic Hordes. So this is a Moon Clan hero. It has to be affected by the light of the bad moon. Carries out the action. The hero can immediately issue the rally command up to 3 times without any command points being spent. Each unit that receives the command must be a different friendly Moon Clan unit. So you just rally 3 times. 3 units again.
Yeah. Right. There's a thing that needs FAQs with this. You definitely can't rally the same unit twice. Everybody will be pleased to know. 100% can't receive the same command in the phase.
Correct.
But because you're not issuing the command, or are you issuing the command?
It says it can immediately issue the rally command. Okay.
I saw people talking about whether or not, because you're doing it through heroic action, whether or not you can then issue the command ability from a different hero in the same start of hero phase.
Got you.
I think enough people have been asking about it. It should get addressed in the FAQ. But,
I don't see how that could. I don't see that sliding at all.
It's good enough you can rally 3 units.
Exactly. So, you're not getting 4.
So, it's a really good heroic action.
Really cool. Then you've got
especially when you're building into these big units. Even if you take a minimum size unit of 20 shooters, if they cut a bit of like AoE flak, just being able to go, I'll roll 5 dice and see if I can get them back. It feels really good.
No, for sure.
Wade and Smash is my favourite though. I've had a lot of fun with this with my Trog boss.
So it has to be a Trog boss within 3 inches of any enemy units. He makes a 6-inch move, must finish that move within 3 inches of any enemy units. At the end of that move, roll a dice for each enemy unit within 1 inch of this dank called Trog boss and a 2 of that unit, so this was D3 mortal wounds. So it's movement in the hero phase, which is awesome. It's mortal wounds, which is awesome. And it can, really cool. I mean, movement wins games, right?
Being able to get out of combat with one thing and into combat with another. So if you've got like an opponent who's retreated in the last turn, and they're thinking about being able to, like, because they've retreated, they've played for the double, and they can now move somewhere else and charge, or they want to be able to shoot something else. They've made like a strategic play to get out of combat. And then good old reliable Trog boss just moves and finishes within 3 inches of them. Like, you've basically got a 9-inch grab on someone. Like, if you're within 9 inches of someone, you can move 6, get within 3. That's them stuck in combat. They now can't move. Or if it's your turn, importantly, they can't redeploy away from you. So you're going to get your good charge. I had a game with Andy a couple of weeks ago, or last week, I can't remember. And he had managed to whittle Kragnos down to a wound. And he won the priority roll, and I weighed and smashed, grabbed his unit of 6 gluttons that were eyeing up coming into my squigs, and I rolled the 2 up and did 3 mortal wounds to Kragnos and killed him. I was like, yes! Trog boss!
That's amazing. No, I like that. Very, very good shenanigans.
Really techie play.
Yeah, love it from the Trog, amazing. And I think you will probably see a singular Trog boss in most lists, right? He's looking
It's
pretty
really
tasty.
good.
Yeah.
Honestly, one of the coolest things, just being able to get him on it. He's got a 3-up save under the moon. He's got a 4-up ignore spells, 4-up ward save with artifacts. He can take a free endless spell. Really cool.
Yeah, no,
200
awesome.
points.
Great to see. Love it. You gotta love it. We've then got some monstrous rampages that we can do as well. We've got ensnaring webbing and giant boing.
One you will never see.
Which one would that be?
This ensnaring webbing, like, I don't even understand it. I don't know when it would ever work.
Yeah. So what's this?
Like,
Only in
or when you would ever
Ragnarok.
want.
Only a Ragnarok unit can act this monster rampage. Pick one enemy hero within 3 inches of the Ragnarok unit that's not a monster. Roll a dice. If the score equals or exceeds that hero's wound characteristic, that hero cannot fight in the following combat phase. Oh my
Heroes
god.
that have 5 and 6 wounds, there's a handful out there that have 4, but
That's hot
it's
trash.
at 33%. You almost always better just roaring them. I don't know if this is the build for you've got 6 of Ragnaroks and you're running out of monstrous actions. But
Just need to do something. Yeah, no, that just sounds horrendous. Yeah, no, definitely not. The giant boing, I can definitely see play again. It's movement when you're normally not supposed to be moving. So yeah, 3d6 move. It's almost as good as the Stonehorn 3d6 move. You don't do the mortals, unfortunately, but still really good.
Great.
Yeah,
really, really good. Just being
yeah.
able to like bounce all over the place, and it's quite a small base as well. So the Stonehorn is on the 120 oval.
That's true.
This thing's only on like a 60 mil round, so you can fit it in places.
Yeah, and on average, he's going 10 inches with fly as well. So get him in there. Yeah, no, I like
slap.
it. Yeah, they do. Yeah, yes, for sure. Cool. So that's all your stuff. Now, before we go into like command traits and all that kind of stuff, I do want to touch on the shrine because we were just kind of having a chat about it there, and there's also a few things that interact with the shrine as well coming up. So I want to kind of get that out the road, or just kind of go over that just now. So it's your good old faction terrain. You set this thing up wholly within your territory, more than 3 inches from all objectives and other terrain features. So as you've said as well, the territories can go quite deep in this GHB, so you can get this thing pretty far forward to then be putting out that aura for
it is big.
For your stuff.
It's like the second biggest scenery piece, I think. Like, I think the base of it's bigger than the Deepkin boat, even though the Deepkin boat extends out a bit more off the ground, like actually on the ground, it's quite big, and maybe just a bit less hard to place than the Nexus for OBR.
Oh god, the Nexus, yeah,
that
takes me back, yeah. Not ideal, but yeah, so quite a chunky boy, as you've got quite a lot of play because it's just wholly within your territory, outside 3 inches of everything else. It is impassable. So there's no landing on it, all that kind of stuff. You can move over if you've got fly. Then we've got the effigy of da Bad Moon. So Gloomspite Gitz units are affected by the light of the Bad Moon wholly within 12. So another way to get your moon kind of stuff, which is good. And then we've got Moon Clan Lair, which is at the end of your turn. Pick one friendly Gloomspite Gitz unit that's been destroyed. The unit can't be a hero, can't be unique, and must have a wounds characteristic of 5 or less. And on a 4-up, a replacement unit of half the models rounding up gets added back to your army. It has to be set up wholly within 12 of the Loon Shrine and more than 3 inches away from enemy units. So quite a lot of play there, to bring these units back. And it says what replacement Moon Clan stabbers and shooters can include up to half as many netters in the unit rounded up. Can we bring back a full complement of netters, guys? You need half them too. But yeah, this is pretty strong here. What's that?
Palooza isn't unique. Yeah. So you can bring back a cheeky 3 of them.
Jank. But yeah, super strong here. Being able to bring back units even at half strength, but it's just great. Just get more assets back, and then also the being within getting the benefit of the light of the Bad Moon when you're actually just with your standing next to this thing is really good as well.
Important to remember, it's at the end of your turn. So when you do come back, there's nothing you can do with them. Other than maybe being able to be placed to contest an objective if you've placed your shrine near it, because I don't know if you read it or if it was noticed there, you can be 3 away from enemy, which is unlike a lot of the summoning mechanics in the game. But
Yeah,
other than that,
yeah.
it's the end of the turn.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the only other time that I've seen outside 3 was that was the command trait, the Ruler of the Spirit Host for Nighthaunt, where you can bring back that unit.
Yeah.
Just has to be outside 3, so and you do that at the end of your movement phase, so you can bang in a 3-inch charge, which is awesome. But yeah, I've not really seen much of that, so that's really strong. Obviously, usually most things are outside 9, but you've got loads of room to work here. So yeah, really, really good. So you're, as you kind of said, you're wanting to protect this piece. If there's any enemy monsters out there, they really should be making a beeline for this thing and taking this out with a destroy terrible or whatever, because you don't want to be allowing your opponent to be bringing units back. So yeah, really, really good. I like that faction piece. So yeah, let's go into the command traits then, because the first one we're going to talk about, well, we're not going to touch on all of them. Again, we're going to try and keep the time limit down. We can't speak about everything, but we're just going to pick one or two, maybe one or two command traits, one or two artifacts, that kind of thing, what we quite like. And the one I'm going to talk about is the Clammy Hand. So I think this is pretty nuts. So if the general's within 12 inches of the Bad Moon Loon Shrine in your army at the end of your turn, you can use the Bad Moon's Loon Shrine Moon Clan Lair scenery roll 2 times at the end of that turn instead of once. So you don't have to just bring back 1 unit, you can bring back 2. This then synergizes really well with a certain sub-faction that we're also going to talk about later on as well, the King's Gitz, which you can re-roll those dice basically as well. So is this just like an auto include, or is it? What's your thoughts here, Nathan?
Yeah, it's definitely very, very good. It's in a lot of the more competitive builds. Just because, so you need to kind of thread the needle with lists. So when we start looking at lists, one thing that becomes apparent is that 4 reinforcement points for this army is actually not a lot. Like, you want to reinforce a lot more units because you want to be able to maximize the size of the units that come back, and you want to be able to maximize your ability to rally. So it really depends on the type of list that you're building. There is ways that instead of going squig hoppers, you could go for the Boingrots, more expensive, lower models. Maybe don't need them to come back as much, so you could maybe afford to take a different command trait. But no, it is very good if you're playing the more attrition style of army rather than the kind of hard-hitting, powerful things. Because at the end of the day, as I said, you're still relying. It's a command trait that doesn't do anything until your units die.
Yeah.
And then when they do come back, you can't do anything with them until your next turn. So, yeah. Yeah. For sure. It's definitely one of the stronger ones. I think the other stronger one out of that list is Fight Another Day. If you're taking the Loon Boss on Mangler, which is probably one of the only appropriately pointed things in the book. At 370 points, he's actually good. He's just not a steal. But that's a carryover from the old book as well.
I think I've seen I've seen a couple of people that are talking about if you are taking a mangler, you can kit it out quite well to be like a bit of a combat piece with the command trait, with an artifact as well. So it really just depends kind of what your playstyle is, what you're looking to do. Obviously, Clammy Hand works just really well with, as you say, attrition. Bringing things back is huge. You could then take into your single kind of big hitty piece in the Mangler Squig with the Fight Another Day, which is really cool. So for those of you who don't know as well, that's each time the general fights, after all their attacks have been resolved, they can make a 2d6 move, and if they do so, they must finish the move more than 3 inches from all enemy units. So they basically fight and run away, which is awesome. Do you want to talk about one of the Trog Boss only command traits that I think we are seeing quite a bit, and you quite like your Trog Boss, so I'll let you have this one.
Yeah, Loon Skin is great just for list builders, for people that enjoy building lists and stuff like that. There's nothing better than something free.
Yeah.
And this lets you include a very expensive endless spell for free. Now, there is the chance that this might get an errata because it's very strong with all the lists, including like things like Skragrot and stuff. But for now, if your general takes this command trait, you can include one of the Gloomspite gets endless spells in your list without paying any points for it.
Yep.
And in your hero phase, that general can attempt to cast the spell that summons the endless spell in the same manner as a wizard. So they're not a wizard, but they can cast that endless spell. But because it's on your list, any other wizard in your army can also cast that endless spell. So you can more reliably get things like your Scuttle Tideout or your Malevolent Moon, which I would say are probably two of the better ones. There is a good chance, because it's a 200-point hero that's getting an 80 to 100-point spell for free, that they maybe change that to only that Trog boss can attempt to cast it. Which would bring it down in its power a good deal. At which point, Alpha Trog is actually really good too. Just quickly to throw that in. 2 extra wounds and gains the monster keyword. Monster keyword is very good, especially really cool. With a lot more Gitz, when you're going to want to smash those Loan Shrines.
For sure. And remind me again, the Trog boss, is he 10 wounds or 12 wounds? What's his starting wounds characteristic?
Oh, I want to say that he's 12.
Let's check.
Yeah,
Nathan,
double check.
Nathan, I thought you were a diehard Gitz player. What's going on, mate? What's happening? So Trog boss, he has 12. He has 12.
Yeah, so 12 was ringing a bell, but 14.
Take him up to 14 wins. Now, the fact that he's 12 without the monster keyword, so basically he's getting... He's kind of... it's one of these things where if you have a hero, you really want them probably to be that 9 wounds mark, because then they get to look out Sir and all that kind of stuff. Whereas, him at 12... he doesn't benefit from that, but then giving him the extra wounds and making him a monster is a pretty good benefit. I like that a lot. Cool. Got some good command traits there. Let's talk about some artifacts. So I'm going to kick things off with... what was the one that I actually quite liked? I thought it was quite kind of a bit nuts. Oh yeah, Moonface. I like Moonface Moment. The moment. So this is wizard only. At the start of the combat phase, you pick one enemy unit within 12 inches of the bearer, and you subtract 1 from the save rolls for attacks that target that unit until the end of that phase. So just -1 to save for a unit. You just pick it. You don't have to roll anything. You do have to be danger close at 12 inches, but I love that.
So that used to be only available to Madcap Shamans in the old book.
Okay.
And this was Fungoid Cave Shaman was kind of like a hanger-on. He came out at that event that they ran where there was a hero for everything. So he wasn't like fully included in the Battletome as far as rules and stuff went. But yeah, so you can now put this on a Fungoid. Fungoids have got an interesting rule now where they can't be targeted from outside 12. So you can get a bit more aggressive with your Fungoid. And with us in this General's Handbook having those enhancements like Tunnel Master, it does give you like a very reliable access to like an extra rend for your entire army.
Yeah, which is awesome. Good. I like that, and it's just want to say that that's Moon Clan hero only as well. So yeah, we've got some artifacts for Moon Clan, some for
Moon Clan Wizard.
Yeah, Moon Clan Wizard, and and we've got some artifacts that are Trog boss only as well. So yeah, I think that's my pick for my favourite of the Moon Clan certainly. What about yourself, Nathan? What are you looking at?
For the Moon Clan, the other one, just so that we can touch on the command trait that I picked, Leading Git Shield is actually very good at the moment, as is Clammy Cowl. So Clammy Cowl, just very quickly, is -1 to hit that person, which increases survivability. But what I like about Leading Git Shield is that enemy units, even shooting units that want to target your Mangler Squig, for example, if they roll any unmodified ones, they suffer a mortal wound. Now, if that unit then kills your Mangler, they're -1 to hit for the rest of the game. So there's this kind of like, well, what do you want to kill them with? Because if it's early doors, you killed a Mangler, but you're now -1 to hit, and you probably took a bunch of mortals to do it.
Yeah.
It's quite cool. I like it.
For sure. I like that,
Going with the Dank Hold, my favourite is the Glowy Howitz.
Oh, yeah. The House It.
Now,
Glowy House It.
House It, is it Glowy House It?
Glowy House It.
This gives your Trog a 4-up ward, which makes them very survivable. It combos with a grand strategy, which I'm sure we'll talk about later. But yeah, they give them a 4-up ward, and it used to be that as soon as you rolled a 1 on the ward, you lost it for the rest of the battle. So it was a 4-up until you rolled a 1. Now it's a 4-up, and then at the end of any phase, you suffer any wounds, you roll a dice, and if you roll a 1, you lose it. So it's very reliable. that you're going to keep a hold of that. And when you do lose it, it's going to be a big moment as well. And it's going to be quite funny. You took a deadly check or something, and then you lose it. Something stupid like that.
It's going to be horrendous.
Yeah.
No, I like that a lot. Obviously, 4-up shrug, huge, especially on a 12 wound model as well. Or you could be a 14 wound model as well. So just adding on extra either 6 or 7 wounds onto that guy. It's pretty cool. And you just need to hope you don't roll that one basically. But I think those are the ones that I would want to touch on. Anything else from that selection there, Nathan? No. Cool.
There is good ones in there. They're all quite good.
Yeah, no, for sure. Right, spell lore. So we've got 2 spell lores, one for Moon Clan, one for Spider Fang Wizards. Yep. We have 4 for Moon Clan and 3 for the Spider Fang. So we'll kind of touch briefly on this. So we've got Itchy Nuisance. Am I right in saying Itchy Nuisance used to be a -1 to hit in the old book?
No, I think Itchy Nuisance always did used to be fight last.
Was it always strike last, right?
They definitely had access to an always strikes last, but they did have a Spider Fang spell that was -1 to hit for enemy units that were wholly within its range, which was very weird.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah, no, it always was a strikes last, which is important. It's good.
Yeah, I mean 18-inch range, which is awesome, and only cast on a 6. So that's a pretty nice spell.
Morka's Warcry, the contrast is a 12-inch range. The fight's last one for Bone Splitters. So yeah, that's good at being that 18 inches. For sure, and obviously I think there's quite a bit of pull towards Moon Clan units. The Wizards certainly. I know that we're going to touch on Skragrott. Obviously, I think he's a very strong in a lot of lists. And then if you want to take a wee Fungoid as well and things like that, I think you definitely see play there. They've got Nick It. So spell cast with an 8, 12-inch range. You pick one enemy model within range visible. It suffers D3 mortal wounds. If it bears an artifact of power, the casting roll is a 10+. That model's artifact of power can no longer be used. If it was used to enhance a weapon, that weapon reverts to its normal form. So really flavourful. I like this, but I don't know if it's going to come up much. Really?
In the game.
Shall I read it again?
Oh God, here we go. Right, okay. What was it? So it's D3 mortal wounds.
Pick an enemy
casting roll
model.
Pick an enemy model.
Oh no, in fact, no, it's that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds.
Right.
This used to be
what was the jank
spell.
I was going to say, what was the jank you were trying to get out there, Nathan?
That model suffered D3 mortal wounds. But
I see.
Because it says pick an enemy model within range. But no, it's just good getting rid of the artifact. I've cast it because it's a 12-inch range arcane bolt.
It's on a 10+ though.
Yeah, but it's a
10+.
Why not? What else are you casting?
I suppose, but what else you cast? I'm catching Itchy Nuisance, mate, to make something strike last. So
like it does come up. Like if you want damage, having access to a D3 mortal wound spell isn't bad. The only reason I'm saying this is Skragrott has access to the whole lore.
Yeah,
so it's not like you have to pick it and then that's the only spell option you've got. There might be a turn where there's nothing you want to teleport, you have no squigs to run in charge, you're casting his War Scroll spell and you don't need to make anything fight last, but it'd be really good if you just finish off that unit.
Well, I suppose the other thing to touch on as well, it doesn't say unmodified casting roll, it just says casting roll of 10+, and he has a baked 10+1 to cast,
he has a baked 10+1.
Right? If he's his own spell Arcane,
isn't unmodified either, it's the modified casting roll, so
cool. Okay, so you get this guy next to Arcane with the +1. You could be getting rid of artifacts of power on 8s, 8 or more, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool, I like that. Squig Lure, so that's cast on a 5, range of 18. You pick a friendly squig unit wholly within range, and they can reroll charge rolls for the unit. Kind of cute, I like that. So it's like rather than spending a CP on it, because they can't take command abilities exactly. Very good. And then we've got Hand of Gork. That's just a teleport. Just a teleport. Classic teleport.
Pick a unit wholly within 24.
Jeez, oh man, that is huge.
Yeah, it's big.
But they have to be out of combat though for this to happen, right?
That's all the destruction ones. Yeah,
right,
so like even the Auric Warclans one, they can't be within 3 to be teleported.
Okay, cool. But
that is good.
Pretty nice wee suite of spells there. I like that. Then for Spider Fang, what have we got here? We've got Scuttling Terrors. Basically you can Scuttling Terrors. You can make a unit make a move. I like that. Cool. Movement in the hero phase. Cool. You've got Sneaky Distraction. Subtract 1 from hit rolls, maybe units where they're within range of the caster, so it's 12 inches. So you kind of put like an aura of -1 to hit.
That was the one that used to be wholly within.
Cool. Ah, I see. So it's just within 12. That's really good. I like that. Cool.
And it's actually really good.
Curse of the Spider God. What do we do here? So hit rolls for attacks. So you basically pick an enemy unit. Any hit rolls for attacks made with that unit always fail on an unmodified roll of 1 or 2 instead of only 1, and save rolls for attacks that unit and always fail on an unmodified roll of 1 or 2 instead of only 1. Ooh, this is kind of cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of 2-up saving models at the moment, so
no, for sure. And you can quite easily get a lot of units hitting on 2s as well. So I like that. That's pretty cool. I like that. Not bad. Cast on a 7, so that's a 6, 7, and a 7. So yeah, maybe want to get a wee Spider-Fang wizard. Am I right in saying it's the only wizard for Spider-Fang is the big shaman on a Ragnarok, or can you get the little scuttle boss, or is there a smaller wizard you can get for them?
Yeah, there's a thing that's needing FAQ'd at the moment because the Spider-Fang wizard on a Ragnarok is missing the hero keyword at the moment.
Oh, really? Okay.
Definitely seems like a mistake. I'm pretty sure he's a hero. But only heroes can take enhancements, and spells are enhancements. So at the moment, the only one that can take it, rules as written, is the wee guy on foot. But I'm pretty sure that your Ragnarok spider is going to be able to take this too.
Can get this as well. Cool, nice. I like those spells. I think you've got some good options there. Cool. Let's talk about the Gittish hordes. So these are your sub-factions. We've got 5 to choose from, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I think the one I'm going to talk about is one that I've already touched upon, which is the King's Gitz. And so they've got a rule called Lair of the Loon King's Lads. If you command a King's Gitz army, you can re-roll the dice rolls when using the Bad Moon's Loon Shrine and Moon Clan Lair's ability. So that 4-up to bring a unit back, you can re-roll it. And then with the Clammy Hand command trait, you can do it twice and re-roll both dice as well. Am I right in saying, right, so kind of tell me if I'm wrong here, Nathan, reading this wrong. Say I have a unit that died. I say I'm going to roll my Loon Shrine to try and bring that unit back. Okay, so I roll it. I don't roll a 4-up. Cool. I'm going to re-roll that. Still don't roll the 4-up. Okay, no worries. I'm going to use my Loon Shrine again. Can I just roll for that unit?
You're not rolling for the unit.
Well, that's the thing I'm asking. So that then means that you're not cut out of the selection. So you have 4 opportunities to bring that, maybe that one unit that has actually died.
Yeah,
you can bring up to 2.
To bring back up to 2. Yeah.
Okay. So I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Okay, cool. I think I know what your pick's going to be.
Oh, I'm not a squig main.
Jaws. Let's talk about the Jaws.
Yeah, so Jaws of Mork, whenever you complete a charge with your squig units, you get the Crushing Gobs. Add 1 to attack's characteristic, and it lists off all of the different type of squig gobs, whether it's the unmounted ones, the ones with mounts, or your big manglers. It's really good because, as we'll see when we start looking into list builds and strategies and stacking buffs, weight of dice is where you're going to get your damage from with Gitz, and it kind of always was. It always was just through pure weight of dice that you would get your damage. But yeah, just +1 attack is actually a lot more than just a 25% buff to the squig attacks, because they get 3. Or a 33% buff. It's more than that. Because of all of the buffs that happen off of unmodified hit and wind rolls. Yeah, it's good. Yeah,
it's very good. I like that a lot. Let's talk about Glog's Megamob as well. I think that you could see this could see some play, and I have seen people running Trogs just Trogs, full-on Trogs. Monstrous regeneration. So usually with the scroll, I believe it's at the end of, or is it in the hero phase? The Trogs.
In the hero phase, they heal.
They heal.
Yep, and they don't roll a dice for it anymore.
Perfect, because it used to be a 4-up, you heal D3, right? So now it just happens. Now they're also regenerating after they've attacked as well. Yep. So 2 potential chances for them to regenerate in a turn, which is pretty cool.
It is good.
So I like that, yeah.
Like, it is good, but at the same time, it means that when you're choosing the engagements, you would only get the benefit after you've been attacked.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So you would need to have suffered wounds to be able to benefit from it.
True.
And the people that I've been speaking to that have been playing the Trog army gravitated towards Glog's Mega Mob initially, just because that's the Trog one.
Of course, yeah.
But King's Gitz is still really, really good for Trogs. They come back from the Shrine, baby. Do you know what I mean? So
exactly. Yeah,
you're seeing units of 9 of these things. So bring back 5 of them. It's significant sort of wound and damage potential.
Yeah, and these guys can slap, and it's both species of Trog. Both definitely have their play.
I've been playing a bit with Bad Snatchers as well, by the way.
Yeah, I think you were saying on the team's chat there, the World's chat, that you were thinking about Bad Snatchers. So talk to me about that as well.
So importantly, Scragrot doesn't benefit because he has the King's Gitz keyword. But while you don't have a lot of bonuses to cast, there is still something to be said that re-rolling one of the dice is actually quite a big modifier to casting.
Mm-hmm.
So I really like it, and there is some cool spells. So in this GHB, we do have the pick a objective, and you can blow it up for a bit of AoE mortal wounds.
Yeah.
You've got the spider Scuttletide that can come on anywhere on the board and do mortal wounds to something that's near a piece of scenery. And then if you've got the Umbral Spell Portal and the Fungoid Cave Shaman Shaman's spell is Spore Mines, which is just everything within 6 inches takes d6 mortal wounds.
Ooh.
Now, if you can reliably get that spell off through a spell portal, it's pretty nasty. Like, d6 mortal wounds, it's not like on a 4+ takes d6, it's just everything within 6 inches takes d6.
And that's a big area, big AoE as well, yeah.
Yeah, wow. I think that there might be something like that. We're going to see nerfs to this. We'll touch on the damage potential of this book. There's going to be things that change with points and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I think that the kind of things that are getting overlooked just because of how good King's Gitz and Jaws of Mork are, I think that Bad Snatchers definitely has some play.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's cool. I suppose I'll just very quickly touch on Grimscuttle. Again, I don't know how much it will see play, but I think it's pretty cool. It's quite thematic as well. So basically, if you're taking Skitterstrands, Arachnaroks, you can deploy them off the board, and you can take 2 units with them as well. So you could do a complete null deploy army, which is really cool. I like that.
They're liking that at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah.
The beasts.
Yeah, no, yeah, same thing as well, aren't they? And yeah, they just have to be wholly within 12 of the when all the units come on. They have to be wholly within 12 of the Skitterstrand when they come on. They have to be 9 away from enemy units. Now, these things have quite the footprint. I mean, Sean was actually saying in the chat there, the Ragnarok army is so huge footprint-wise that if you do go, what's that?
As you probably can't deploy it, which is why you need to be able to put it off the table.
Well, I was going to say, like, in terms of if you null deploy and then you've got a canny opponent who's got some movement and just goes, "No worries, I'll just screen you out," and then actually coming on the board. Oh dear, controversial. So yeah, that was that, but I think it's worth a wee shout there for all you spider guys. Cool. So that's the Gittish Hordes. I think we've covered that quite well. Before we talk about Grand Strats and Battle Tactics, I'll just catch up with chat. So we've got Doogie Armit says, "Alright boys, how we doing?" We've got JJ, Steamed Warhams, is in chat as well. And he was saying, "Nathan pumped me with Gitz today." So that's... You love to see it. You love to see it. Unfortunately, those TTS games don't count towards JJ's undefeated streak right now. Thankfully, but yeah, he's just getting dem reps in so he can combat the Gitz. Cool. So let's talk about. So we'll pick a Grand Strat, we'll pick a battle tactic each. I like I know which one you're going to go for, so I'll pick Protect the Shrine then. I think this is one that you maybe could do. It's maybe you maybe don't want to do it because, as you said, you might want to be kind of aggressive with your shrine, but to get the benefits. But if you do so, then it means that you could lose the shrine. You could also lose this grand strat as well. But I think there are quite a lot of grand strats, which is usually like protect the faction scenery piece, and people take them. And because it's something that you could just slap it in a bottom corner, you don't think about it, and kind of get on with the game. And then at the end, there are ways you can mitigate people kind of stopping it and stuff like that, and you get your 3 points. So I think it could see play, certainly.
If it didn't have there are no enemy unit or enemy models within 12 of it, then I think that it would be something you could take the gamble on. You could try and just, if you're going to have things like sneaky snufflers that can't move to screen out around the shrine, you're going to be able to give a good attempt at protecting it from getting smashed to rubble.
Yeah.
But yeah, just having no models within 12, if you go last and somebody's got anything with speed, they can just get free 3 points by stopping you scoring that.
Exactly.
Chasing the Moon is the one that I've been playing with the Trog boss. Just because you need to dedicate a fair amount of your army to getting them, I think. And if you've got other threats, and they're having to direct their attention towards this guy with his 4-up spell ignore, 4-up ward, healing D6 every hero phase, it's a situ.
No, absolutely. And yeah, you can just play very defensive with him, and you can make it that you're not going to be able to pick him up. So for those of you who are interested, Chasing the Moon, you have to have your general be they can't be slain, first of all, so they have to still be alive at the end of the game, and they have to have been affected by the light of the bad moon for at least 3 battle rounds. It doesn't say consecutive battle rounds, it just says for 3 battle rounds. So obviously you just keep a kind of a wee tally of the 3 rounds that he's done it, and then keep him safe. And as you've said, you put it on a Trog boss general who is a very survivable piece, and I could definitely see a lot of play in this, and we are seeing this in a lot of the lists now, a lot of the good lists. So very good. Battle tactics wise, I think the one that I kind of eyed up, what was it again? It was either Glory Grabbers. Was it Glory Grabbers?
Moonlight Raid.
Or Moonlight Raid. Yeah, but pick one objective controlled by... This is Moonlight Raid. Pick one objective controlled by your opponent. You complete this tactic at the end of this turn. You control that objective, and every friendly Gloomspite Gitz unit that is contesting it is affected for the light of the bad moon. So I think that's quite a good one. You have quite a bit more control over it, because you just need to take an objective off your opponent and have just that unit that's contesting it has to be affected by the light of the bad moon. There is one which was every Gloomspite Gitz unit has to be affected by the light of the bad moon. That's followed the moon,
turn 1.
and which just that could. But again, you get that in the centre. Then
you get it in the centre.
Get the centre. That's an auto pick, right?
There's one, definitely. If you get that in the centre and everything's affected by it, you just can't. It says you can't do it turn 1, because obviously then you would be able to have all of your models inside the quarter.
Of course.
But there's one there on the infographic that you've got that's not bolded. Stab him in the dark. So it's hidden inside Venomous Assault.
Oh, cool. Right, okay.
I missed it the first few times I was playing as well, when I was using this totally legit copy of the rules that we've been getting for. Pick one enemy unit in the battlefield. You complete this battle tactic if the unit was destroyed by an attack made by a friendly Gloomspite Gitz unit during this turn, while it was not affected by the light of the bad moon. So what I'd been doing with that is it can be quite a good turn 1 battle tactic. If you're going second and there's a unit that you can get, if you can just poke your unit slightly outside of the table quarter so that it's not wholly within, it's not affected, kill the unit, and it's definitely achievable.
I like that. No, nice pick there. Very good. And I think those are the ones for me that I would probably be eyeing up. There is one in there which is you have to take into spiders. There is one which is dependent on your opponent having an enemy monster, which you can't always guarantee. And then the glory grabbers.
Oh
my god! Yeah, you have
King's
to.
Gets clammy hand one.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, I mean that even with the 4-up re-rolling, it's still a case of I think, oh God, I don't know if I would pick this one because you could just not roll well, and yeah, if you've screwed a battle tactic. But yeah, so those are the main ones there. Cool, and then we're on to the war scrolls, mate. So we're not going to talk about every single scroll in this book. We are going to touch on what's hot, okay, what's so hot right now. And luckily the first scroll that comes up, Scragrot, is definitely one that is hot right now. So talk to me, why are we seeing him in pretty much every list?
So two things on his war scroll mean that he will be included in pretty much every list. Not only is he quite cheap at the moment at 160 points. He could afford to be more.
Yeah, I think very reasonable.
I'm saying two things, and then just as I was saying that, everything on his war scroll's good. He's still only a 5-up save, 6 wound. Yeah, he does have a 4-up ward, but like he is removable.
Yeah,
he can be shot.
Yeah.
So yeah, like he is a removable piece, but he's a war master. So he can issue commands as if he was a general, so 18 inches, really good for that heroic action, for the triple rally.
Yeah.
He has a free command ability every single turn, so it's not every battle round like similar abilities or once per game, it's every single turn. Do not spend a command point when you issue a command. With Lumineth raging rampant at the moment, it's really good to be able to get that command out under the total eclipse. The moon on a stick used to be a totally tilting shooting attack that JP will be able to attest to. He tortured me with it for years. It's now everything is affected by the light of the bad moon while they're wholly within 12 of Scragrot. Really cool.
Which is awesome. So he's just his own little personal moon.
Yeah.
Just walking about. Love it.
And the biggest thing is his ability to fix the moon. So I touched on that earlier, where you can just say, well, it's turn 2, I'm not taking any chances. I want run in charge on my squigs. I want +1 save. I want to push out of my deployment zone. The moon's now in the middle, and you've got the moon everywhere. It opens up those battle tactics. Really good. You don't want to be in the position where you've rolled that 1, 2, or a 3. The moon's still stuck in your table quarter. You really want to get a run in charge. You want to leave your deployment. This guy just allows you to do it. And then to add to that is spell, cast on a 3.
I don't think I've ever seen such thing. Even flaming weapons is a 4. Yeah, exactly. Okay.
So the only way he fails this is if he miscasts, and that's only on a technicality because it would still be a 3, right? But yeah, no, it's roll a number of dice for the casting roll.
Yeah.
3 ups a mortal wound. Within 12 inches, you'd think. No, 24 inches.
24
inches.
Holy
so I had them in a big WA army on the weekend at the team event that we were at. Just try them out and see the amount of times that you roll like a 10 or an 11, and it's just like, yeah, that's 9 mortal wounds. Your hero's dead. 24 inches.
Yeah, that's it. Just has to be within range and visible. And
he's got a big stick. On it. There's not much can hide from him.
That's very true. Does this circumvent the rules for the galley champs in this edition as well, that they can't be targeted if they're within an inch of battle line?
It's not shooting. We've always been able to target. Like, even if you think about it, you're like all spells. Yeah, you can just zap folk.
Just visible. Yeah, so it's not a shooting attack. So yeah, go nuts. That's pretty cool. So he's
see why he doesn't benefit from bad snatchers, because that would be nuts.
That would be, yeah. Oh my god, yeah. You're just like, right, I've rolled a 6 and a 1. I'll re-roll the 1. He's like, oh my god.
Oh, it's another 6. That's 13 dice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's modified
very cool
as well. So get him on Arcane. He's his own +1. You're adding 2 to it.
Yeah. Not really like that. Only 160 points as well, which is...
He was
really
210, cool. I think, initially. And I've got a feeling that he probably is one of the things that, because like GW will be looking at the lists, every list has him. I don't think they're going, we don't want every list to have him, because he does like a really cool thing for the army, giving them the moon.
Yeah.
So I can see him going up a bit.
Yeah, I think I could see him going up, definitely. But yeah, just a great... I love the fact that, you've got 3 different ways to access the moon. you've got Scragrot, you've got the shrine, and you've got the actual moon itself.
And you've got the Malevolent Moon Endless spell.
Yeah, of
which
course.
is a
So
great
it's
spell.
4.
Yeah.
Jesus. So yeah, there's multiple ways, and I really like that. And you can kind of work around that. Great. Okay. So Scraggy, he gets the green tick of goodness. Let's talk about another one that we're seeing a lot, which is the Gobapalooza, which is just such a mental unit. Is it 5 guys? They're all
5 guys, 3 wounds.
3 wounds apiece. They're a wizard. They are Moon Clan. They're not unique. Right.
So they start off more and more nuts. So they're obviously like off their tits on fungus, right?
Yeah.
So at the start of the battle, they've got a 4-up ward.
Awesome.
And then in the second turn, it goes to 5-up, and then third round 6-up, right?
Yeah.
So
they
are quite tanky.
This was something, right? So I played when I was playing against Mark, and I did my tech list Storm of Searing White Light, and I'm like, cool. And he was like, so Scragger's got a 4-up board, and I was like, all right, cool, right. He's like, and the Trog Boss has got a 4-up board, and I'm like, okay,
And
right, cool. And he's like, he knows it for cool. And then he's like, right, 4-up boards for the Goblins. I'm like, hold on a minute. How many 4-up boards you got here? So I was quite happy when it started to degrade turn 2 and turn 6 as well. But yeah, really quite cool. And again, it's 15 wounds. They're on a 6-up save, so the ward is going to be really quite crucial to keeping these guys around. So tell me, why are we taking these boys?
So there is some jank that we're pretty sure is going to get fixed, but you did mention they're not unique, and they do have buffs which do not appear to not be stackable. Just double checking. Is
this the rend buff?
Oh, the rend, I'm pretty sure that's going to get curtailed.
I think so, yeah. So
they've got 3 buffs basically. You can improve a unit's rend characteristic by 1. Works for shooting attacks. Hello, shooters.
Hello.
The other one is pick a hero and add 1 to hit and wound rolls.
Cool.
Great for your Mangler Squigs. And then there's the add 1 to run and charge, which is actually, like, I've played quite a few games with Gobapalooza, and there has been turns where I've chosen to give my Squigs run and charge, give them +1 to run and charge, rather than giving them the extra rend.
Got you.
But yeah, it's really good for that. Then they've got one of the best spells in the book, Mesmerize, which is it's like a mirror of what you see in a couple of other armies.
Yeah.
But yeah, no command abilities is a really good spell. And then the Fungoid Cloud as well, which is just -1 to hit for everything that's wholly within 12. So these guys do tend to be hanging about around your shrine, buffing units as they move forward. And just the ability to have this big, massive -1 to hit cloud can be pretty cool too.
Yeah.
They can be rallied.
And they're not heroes, correct? So they're not they're not galley champs. Yeah.
They are wizards, so
they are wizards. Right. Okay.
It's weird. Like they do get to take a spell.
Yeah. So what's that about?
I don't know. I don't know if that is a list building thing or if they do get to take this. I don't know, because it's an enhancement, but it's not it's not a unique enhancement. Remember the way that it was explained to me when AOS3 came out is that the reason you get any spells in your entire army is that every army is afforded 1 spell enhancement, and when one wizard gets a spell, every other wizard in your army gets a spell that's part of that allegiance. I think that's maybe how to get it.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's other units out there that are heroes, but they have their wizards, and so they get spells.
This unit has 2 wizards in it. The one that sits on the mushroom and the one with the crazy eyes. That's Boggle Eye and can't remember the other one, Fungus one.
Yeah, I like how they've all got their own individual names. So yeah, I can see these guys getting hit with the unique stamp, potentially, because or the rewording of the rend doesn't stack because
so it doesn't
people were
fit
talking
the narrative
about
for them to be unique.
Sorry, what?
So there's more than one Gobapalooza.
But they've all got their own individual names. Spiker, Boggle Eye,
that's the type of Palooza
Dipsy. Right, okay, I get you, right, okay. So
I think that will probably stop you being able to put the same effect on
Yeah.
more than one unit.
Because that's nuts, yeah. Because I was seeing people saying like, yeah, I'll take 3 Gobblepaloozas, I'll put it on a unit of shooters, I'll make them -3 rend. Yeah, well, I mean that was what Scott was saying as well in the chat there earlier. He was like, can he get a Loon Shrine for love nor money? So good luck with that. So yeah, Gobblepalooza, cool. Loon Boss. We are seeing some Loon Bosses.
Yes.
In lists, and I think it's mainly for his command ability. I don't think it's for his combat prowess. Although, having said that, 5 attacks, 3 sneeze, -1 D3. That's not bad. It's not bad at all. This little guy.
He's got 4 up save. You ever seen a drop with 4 up save?
He's got 5 wounds. What the hell? But yeah, so his command ability, which is I'm the boss now, stab him good. Basically, is when he issues an all-out attack to a friendly Moon Clan unit. So they get their all-out attack. They also get the additional benefit of any unmodified wound roll of a 6 does a mortal wound in addition as well. This is nuts. What the hell?
Yeah. So the list that I've been playing with most recently, I have him as the general.
Mm-hmm.
And I have him with the Night Flyer cloak. So I can get him off the board. So he's safe. We've always got 1 buff, right?
Yeah.
And then when he comes down, he then issues all-out attack.
Mm-hmm.
Got him with leadership of the Alpha as well, so I can issue it to 3 units.
Holy moly!
And they get this 6s to wound, do a mortal wound in addition.
Oh my god! So give this to 3 units. Oh my lord! Wow.
So JJ mentioned it earlier. I had my unit of Squig Herd had multi-charged like 3/4 of his army or something. I got 6 Squig Hoppers into his dragons. And by time I'd rolled the attacks for 6 of the squigs, so I hadn't even rolled the riders' attacks.
Mm-hmm.
The 6 squigs that they were riding on had done 18 mortal wounds. Because you've also got the squig boss, which does 6s to hit at a mortal wound in addition.
Right.
And then when you get to the wound rolls, any 6s are a mortal wound in addition again.
That's horrendous.
You can, if you stack the plus attack buffs, so there's plenty of them in the book, the damage can really, really stack up big time.
And the squigs do mortals when they move as well over you.
Yeah, I keep forgetting about that. We do. Actually, I didn't even think about that, but when I played them, I was like 4 inches away, and I was like, I'm just going to move to 3 away.
You've been moderating yourself.
I've been self-comping, mate.
Self-comp. It's all about that Gitz self-comp. Sweet Jeebus. This is nuts. And as you said, so you've got this guy giving 6s to wound mortals, got the guy giving 6s to hit mortals, in addition to having all the attack as well. That's just. Oh my god!
It's a situation.
It is 100% a situation.
Squigs hit on 4s, so. Thankfully, Cave Squig Herds can't receive commands, otherwise this would be really crazy because they're really cheap.
Yeah.
But your Squig Hoppers are 180 points, your 5 Boingrots are 140 points. We're talking about like 5 up save, 6 up save, 2 wound models. Like they are actually quite expensive. Yeah. It's not until you start taking into account the rally on the 4+ and the footprint of that unit that you really start to see the strength.
Yeah, and obviously if you do have access to AoEs and stuff like that, or things that can snipe out these little heroes, these should be your number 1 prio, right? Just to
get the buffs.
Get these buffs to Fook, and then the army starts to kind of fall apart. Right, next I want to talk about. Unless you have any feelings about Madcap Shaman, Squig Boss with Giant Squig with Nasha Squig, or Loon Boss with Giant Cave Squig.
Squig Boss is big.
The Squig Boss? Go for it.
Squig Boss is huge. So Squig Herd are still really good, but I think that they are even easier to counter than the Cavalry.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got a once per game ability at the start of a hero phase where he can release the Squigs, which gives them a normal move. Now Squig's normal move is 5 plus d6. So you can have them zipping across 11 inches, then another 11 inches, under the moon, run and charge, so another 6 inches. Like they can cross the board quick.
Wow.
And if you have more than 1 Squig Boss, you can finish the first move within 12 inches of your other Squig Boss, and then you can move again.
Do the next
one.
And
you can trail back a little daisy chain so that in the hero phase you can give them a type of mushroom. So this is where you get the yellow Lurker, which is the 6s to hit, or the Mortal Wound in addition.
Yep.
But there is also improved move characteristic by 3, which is very good. Because all of your squigs are random move. So being able to just fix them, like for me, for hoppers, extra 3 inches, puts them to 13 plus d6, and then they can run and charge as well. So 13 plus 2d6 is pretty nippy. Like, cross that board fast.
No, for sure. And again, just from my own experience, I sat about 30 inches back from the deployment zone, like back from this unit of Squig Herd, and was like, yeah, cool. There's surely no way. And sweet Jesus, like it was just like, right. So they'll get a move now, and then they'll get that move, then they're gonna run, and then they can run a charge. And I was like, wow, like they are just
cross the board quick.
They're hoofing it across the board. So yeah, no, really good pick there. I like that. Nice little model as well, actually. I like the
cool model.
Squid Boss Nash Squig. Yeah. We've then got Zarbag's Gitz. I'm going to pass on that. Ripper Snarfangs or Snarfang Riders, really cool new models. I haven't seen any of them in any lists thus far.
It's a shame. It's a shame.
Oh, no.
I don't think I would ever play one. You know, like I've been a Gitz player long enough now that I'm a bit of a purist, and they're not Moon Clan. You know what I mean? Like they're not good.
I need to. How do you mute and report on a YouTube live stream?
FBI.
Cool, so yeah, we'll skim past that. Let's get on to the Loon Boss and Mangler Squig, because this is something you've chatted about quite a wee bit. I know you like this boy, such a cool model, and yeah, we want to see him do well. So talk to me about this guy.
Yeah, so they just made them a little bit better than before. So I'm pretty sure they were 12 wins, now they're 14.
They were definitely, which is good. We are seeing a lot more monsters, like just getting the little tick up of wins now. Go up to 14, which is pretty big, yeah.
And all squigs, let's say all squigs, even Boingrots and stuff, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that they've always been random move as well. Now, there was a lot more ways to give them run and charge, so you could reliably add an extra d6 to their move, but you could quite easily run and charge your Mangler Squig 3 inches, which I think I did do in my first practice game that I had with Squigs in the old book, because I was playing them on TTS before, because, you know, I'm a long-term Squig player.
Of course,
and when you roll that, like, 3-inch move, you're just like, right, okay, not doing anything then. So now he's D6 plus 10, which is the same for like your Squig Hoppers, and I think your Boingrots are D6 plus 7.
Yeah, and Squig Herd as well. So all Squig things, they've got D6 plus a set value, which is just, it's huge.
Squig Herd used to just be 5, actually. They weren't random at all.
Oh, cool.
So your Squig Herd were always 5, so they were D6 plus 5 when they were running and charging, which made them quite good with things like Kragnos.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, the Loon Boss is one of those cool monsters that starts out okay, gets worse, gets a bit worse, then gets really good when he's got a wound left. His final bracket is just insane.
It goes nuts. Yeah. Cool.
But yeah, no, the only downside is that their damage is random. I say downside, it is fun, but yeah, their damage is random. But if you take into account, you can give this guy an artifact which improves the rend of his teeth by 1. You can gob a Palooza to give all of his weapon profiles plus 1 rend. If you've got a second Gobapalooza, because you're an absolute nutter, it could be plus 1 to hit and wound.
And you can kit them out with the command trait and the artifact, which are kind of
fight again,
which are fight and then dodge out and then all that kind of stuff. Yep. So no, I like this guy. Mortals in the charge is pretty cool. Roll 10
dice for every model.
Yeah, up to 10, max of 10. I'm glad they maxed out at 10. And then every 4 up a mortal. So yeah, if you go into a unit of 10, to just you're doing 5 mortal wounds. Plus you can stomp, and then you can actually then go for it. And then what's it? Bite Damoon once per battle. Start of the combat phase. Oh, I like that. That's pretty cool.
Good for your Squig army. Yeah, especially with sure. Because you can't give them commands, so that's a good way. Like getting all Squigs wound on a 3, so getting them wounding on a 2 is good.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So that's a Loon Boss on Mangler Squig. Any play do we think in just a regular Mangler Squigs, or is it are we only taking the one Loon Boss? You think, or do you think there is play for?
So far, the only one I've played in practice is the non-mounted Mangler. He's 130 points cheaper, 240 points. Fills up a battle regiment slot as well, if you're trying to get your drops low. and has access to the same monstrous actions. The only thing he loses is Bite the Moon and
the wee guy on top attacks.
the wee guy on top with his 2 damage attacks. Like, it's not a massive loss. Still 14 wounds, still 4-up save, same move profile, and the bites and the balls and chain are the same. So for 240 points, he's actually a decent monster. I think that maybe 370 is a little bit too much for the Loon Boss on Mangler. It can be really annoying if he's the only thing that you're engaging with in your army, and you're always able to like charge and bounce away and stuff. But it's still random. You could roll a double 1 and you're not allowed to leave combat.
No, for sure. I think the main thing, I was quite underwhelmed when I played against him. I just found him really easy.
Nice to shoot.
Just really easy to. I think I took him off for wind chargers. Just had 1 unit of 5 wind chargers, and I splashing immortal wounds or whatever. And I was like, okay, cool, that's that gone. And it was as you say, it was like what 240 points. But obviously anything that is lowish wounds with or wounds per points with a 4-up save isn't going to really last long to shoot. But yeah, cool. I like that. So we've already kind of touched on the dank called Trog boss. There is a dank called Trogoth as well, so this is the kind of non-hero version, and yeah, I don't see the benefit of taking him over a Trog boss, but you can.
There's a couple of benefits.
Okay.
Yeah, so the first thing is that there is a battalion which isn't included in this PDF.
That's right. Yeah, we've got.
There's you can include a dank called Trog boss and a dank called Trogoth, and you get an enhancement.
Okay. Which
is one of the cheaper ways to access an enhancement, because your Trogoth is only 180 points. Your 10 wound, 3-up save because of the moon. Heals D6 every turn as well.
It's also the lowest. Yeah. Was it also that's?
D3.
Is that also the lowest drops you could do to get an artifact as well?
It is the lowest, that's what I mean. So you can take that plus a battle reg, take in at 3. It's also D3 plus 3 damage at Ren 2, which is alright for attacks. The dank called Trog boss has a similar all-out attack to the Loon boss, where you add 1 to the attack characteristic instead of the 6s to wound to immortal wounds. So you get +1 to it and +1 attack.
Okay.
You can reinforce dank called Trogoths now, which we're seeing some people do. It's a bit of a meme.
Cool.
You can take a unit of 2 of them, which is quite cool.
That's pretty cute. I like that. Okay. And
if you're looking at point for point, the Trog boss is a bit better.
But good call. I hadn't even noticed that. D3 plus 3 damage versus D6 damage.
Yeah.
I'm taking that D3 plus 3 all day long. That's pretty cool. I like that. Okay, minimum 4 every time. I like that. Okay. And then we've already spoken about the Trog boss. The fact that he makes a really good general for your lists. Very survivable. He can be quite fighty as well. You get him in the Loon skin, gets you basically in the spell for free. So really nice. Just for your list writing, and then can synergize quite well with your Trog units. Let's talk about these boys, Sneaky Snifflers.
Hardest
Snifflers.
to find than truffles in the UK anyway.
Swear to God, man, these things are hot off the shelf. So why has everyone went out and bought themselves shares in Sneaky Snifflers?
So they've got 5-up ward themselves, so they don't die to anything, 2 wounds each. And you, for a 2, roll a dice. On a 3-up, you give a unit a 5-up ward.
Cool.
While you're affected by the bad moon, you add 1 to the roll. So it's basically a 2-up to get 5-up ward on a unit. Now, as I was saying, you probably want to be looking at 60 wound units. Or if you're looking at cave squigs, 72 wound unit. So giving them a 5-up ward before you send them out on their suicide missions is actually pretty decent. Now, what I like about it is that on a 6+, you get +1 attack. Under the light of the bad moon, that's a 5+, and we've seen what an attack can do for units like squigs that are taking these mortal wound buffs. So for 110 points, they're a very efficient buff piece, and the fact that when they give the buff, they then can't move is a blessing sometimes as well, because it allows you to leave something at the back of the board. Very easy to run across the table with your whole army in this. With Gloomspite Gitz, and just something that's going to be there at the Loon Shrine so that when something dies and comes back, it then gets a wee snuffle truffle on its way.
Wee sniffle truffle, like it. I like
Aye.
it. Yeah, so that's, I mean, just talking about the tax thing, a great added bonus, great Brucey bonus. Just skimming through the kind of book there, just right now, I've seen at least 3 or 4 different ways to get +1 attack
Yeah.
on a unit, which is nuts. So yeah, cool. And then as you say, yeah, a 5-up ward on a unit that is probably going to be rallying back people.
Yeah.
And also, yeah, just tanking some stuff now because you can spike them 5-ups and that's you. Cool. So snufflers, they be snuffling. Good pick. Fungoid Cave Shaman. We've already kind of briefly touched on this guy as well. You think
Yeah.
he's got a play in some lists as your little
Spell's
Moon Clan
good.
wizard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the
Decent. Yeah.
spore maws.
Spore mine.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
spore maws. Yeah.
Ooh, like it. I like it a lot. He's got a little spore squig, so yeah, units not visible to enemy units that are more than 12 inches away. Awesome. So he's got even more protection as a galley champ as well, which
Used
is
to be 4
tremendous.
wounds. He's now 5, so he counts as 2 in objectives as well.
But he has lost his ward, right? Because he used to have a ward
he
last book. Is that right?
sacrificed that. He used to have I think he had a 4-up as well.
I think it was a 4-up ward, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It can't be targeted from outside 12 is still pretty decent. So
Yeah.
like the biggest things that are going to prey on him are things like Tech, Nado or whatever. Still needs to be a visible unit. So you've got some protection there against things like that. He doesn't get shot as easily in this handbook, but when this handbook goes away, he's still not going to be able to get shot that easily. So
it's good. Some good future proofing there. Right, we've talked about them. Now we need to talk about them some more. Squig Herd. Holy moly! So we are seeing
guys are nuts.
Multiple lists where these guys are double and reinforced, which takes you up to 36. Is that right? 36 Squig Herd.
36, 2 wins each, so 72 wins.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty chunky. Yeah, so as I've already said, they're fast. They've got 3 attacks. If you're in Jaws of Morg, that's 4 attacks. If you've rolled a 5-up on your Snufflers, that's 5 attacks. If you've got Spore Splatter Fanatics that are wholly within 9 of them, that's 6. I'm pretty sure that's where you cap out. But more realistic to have 5. They're 1-inch bases, like 25mm bases, so you can fight in 2 ranks.
Yep.
They've only got a paper save, so they die fast, but you actually want them to die.
Yeah.
So you want them to go in, you want them to do damage, then when you roll your Battle Shock for every squig that runs away, pick a unit within 9 inches. On a 2+, they take a mortal wound. Like, that is abusive.
That's bad enough. 9 inches.
9 inches.
9 inches.
It used to be 6.
See if it was
the closest unit.
See, even if it was just the unit that they were in combat unit, or whatever, the unit they were just in combat with or whatever. But 9 inches is insane, and these guys could be getting killed in droves, or you could just maybe you lose 10, right, and then you just go, cool, I'm not going to inspire in presence, I'm just going to roll a d6, and then you actually want to lose as many as possible.
Since playing them, I've been looking for damned on the table. Do you know what I mean?
To get
can't
extra
receive a
guys to
command,
die.
just +1 to hit, and I'm going to at least be taking a battle shock here. So.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll do damned. I'll try and run over deadly as well.
Run over and charge into deadly, and you're looking for sinister scenery.
And pile into deadly and make sure they're in wholly on sinister. So just these guys nuts. We've seen a lot of the stats out for these guys. The sheer number of attacks.
120
the
points.
Fact that you can put you can put extra additional rend on them. You can get them now. Obviously, they're not going to be getting the mortals to hit and wound because they cannot receive command abilities.
But to hit isn't a command.
That's all right. Okay, so the hit's just an ability, right? Okay,
yeah.
That's fine. Because you get the hit mortals. Oh God, that's terrifying.
It is terrifying.
but not the wounds. Okay, thankfully they can't get that. These guys also aren't rallying either.
They've got their own wee kind of special rally.
Right. Oh yeah, of course. Because you're the squig herder. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the start of your hero phase. You roll dice for each one. On a 2+, you get D3 squigs back in the unit. On a 1, the squigs that were coming back ate the herder.
I like that.
Guys.
I like that. Finally, get rid of the herders.
Yeah.
So yeah, these guys are nuts, and I think until they get a fixing, you're just going to see a maxed out unit of these in every list, right? Or
Agreed.
every kind of S tier list. Then we've got Loon Boss and Giant Cave Squig. I've not been seeing this guy a lot. What's your thoughts on him?
Now and then. So he gives when he piles in, another unit gets to pile in.
Okay.
And he's got a decent. His spear does decent damage. I think when he charges, it goes to Ren 2. So he's all right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's on a smaller base as well, so you can get in places. What's it say? Improve the Ren characteristic of this Moon Clan Stabber by 1. Yeah, so you get him, he goes in, and then he immediately activates a unit of Boingrot Bounders as well. And Boingrot Bounders are good. They're just being overlooked at the moment based on the efficiency of the attrition armies, just because like some of the buff pieces are a bit cheaper than I think they ought to be.
Yeah.
I think when you start seeing the buff pieces go up and you need to cut buff pieces, if the damage doesn't cut it, you're going to need to start looking at Boingrot Bounders because they do a lot of slap. They have the same squig profile, but then they've got Ren 2 damage to attacks on the guys on top as well.
Ooh, okay, cool. And then obviously the mortals when they move over as well.
When they charge,
cool.
Theirs is when they charge. It's not
right, okay. Sorry. Yeah, cool. So yeah, nice. We've got two different kind of species of stabbers and shooters. Yeah. I have seen some noise around about the shooters. For just the weight of dice you can get from the shots. And the fact that you could stack rend on them potentially as well. I've heard some pretty good stuff. And then for the stabbers, I think the main kind of noise I've been hearing about is the fact they can hold objectives within 9 instead of 6. What's your kind of quick thoughts on these guys?
Yeah, so you touched on it with shooters. A reinforced unit of shooters with 60 models is 100 and depends on how many netters you take, but like if you were to be aggressive and just take one netter, it could be 118 shots. All out attack puts them to 3s, and then they're wounded on 5s. Even without rend, it's enough to do like a serious amount of damage to things. Like if you're not being aggressive looking for like low drops, putting them in sharpshooters, they definitely have the wounds output to drop a support hero.
Yeah.
And when they're reinforced 3 times, they're 60 wounds, -1 to be hit in combat, really good at rallying, and they're only 375 points. They're 125 points for 20 bodies.
Wow.
So they're not a large portion of your army.
And a weird range as well, 20 inches.
20 inches.
So obviously 25 huge with their move, which is huge. So I don't know how they managed to get that 20-inch tiny little bow, but they've done it. Okay, cool. So that's shooters, stabbers. Do you see a place?
Yeah, so they've got a 5-up save versus the 6. Both shooters and stabbers have an icon bearer that improves their save against shooting, so they more reliably get their 5-up save. Give them a 5-up ward. They can be really good. I foresee a points increase for shooters and maybe even a points reduction for stabbers, and I think that probably will make it more of an option. I think right now, just with how efficient the book is, you just go for damage, you take the shooters. Yeah. But I have played, there is play to the redeploy. On especially some of the missions, I have been in the position where I could redeploy and steal an objective with a unit of 40 stabbers.
Cool.
So yeah, just being able to score objectives from 9 inches away is quite big.
Yeah.
If you take a unit of 40, which is what I've experimented with, when they do eventually die and they come back as a unit of 20, they can immediately score objectives from outside 9. So it can be quite good for getting an objective back the turn they come back, and then when your opponents had to push out and they're not screening their home objectives quite as well as they maybe should, you can teleport them across the board and steal objectives as well. Makes for quite interesting plays. And they're only 125 points as well for 20 bodies. They're still good. I think that shooters probably edge them out if you had to pick.
Yeah, no, for sure. But yeah, I do like that, grabbing objectives within 9. I think, as you say, there's shenanigans abound for that.
People forget about it as well.
Yes, I know, 100%. Then we've got 2 different types of fanatics. We've got the Loon Smashers, we've got the Spore Splatters. Loon Smashers, they pretty much do exactly what they did last book. They hide within units in the enemy's charge phase, they pop out. And
any charge phase?
It's any charge phase, perfect, cool. So you can have it in your own charge phase that you get in extra distance, and they can come out and charge. They are strike last, Strike first, sorry,
Strike first.
which is
Yeah,
Whirling Death,
ASF.
which is really quite cool. They have d6 attacks each, 4s, 3s, -2 d3 damage. They are very random, but again, it's the kind of the flavour of the unit, which is cool. Then we've got Spore Splatters. Now, in the last book, they just used to hide people from missile attacks. Are they the same thing
Yeah,
now?
they still do that. It's if you draw a line between the center of a model to the center of the model that you're targeting, if it passes within an inch of the spore splatters, then they're not visible. I think that was the same in the old book. I could be slightly wrong, but it's the same idea. You
Yeah.
basically string them out as like a kind of screen, and then you can hide stuff behind it. Good for hiding those heroes. It does block visibility both ways. So if you're wanting to hide Skragrot, for example, he can't see through the Spore Splatters, so he's not going to be able to cast the spell to be aggressive.
Got you.
They also have a pre-game move.
Oh, cool.
So you can push out the screen with them, and wholly within 9, they give a +1 attack.
Not bad.
There's one thing I wanted to touch on, the Loon Smashes, that's massive from the last time. So now if the unit they're hiding in gets wiped out, you don't lose the Fanatics. So before you used to lose them, now they come out wholly within 6 inches of the last model to be removed. Now if that happens in the combat phase, they would then get to activate. And they also would count for 5 models on the objective as well, importantly, if you're fighting over an objective, for example. So Fanatics are definitely an interesting threat. They can be quite difficult to deal with for people. If you've got a monster, you can just stomp them, but you can only kill a maximum 3, and they still get d6 attacks if they spike it, so it's a real threat.
Yeah, I always find them really. When I played against them back in the older book, I found them really annoying, and they did work just with that, and the fact that they can, they jump out when you're trying to charge that unit. They're just a nuisance. They can spike their attacks, and they can do a lot of damage as well. Yeah, and the fact that you're not losing them when you do it. That is big and something to be noted, definitely. Okay, and then really, I think to round out the last kind of few scrolls that I want to touch on. I'm sorry, Spider guys. I don't think we're going to be talking much about you guys. We've spoken a wee bit about the kind of the Skitterskrans, the Arachnaroks, and the Spello they've got access to. I don't see Spiders making many lists, to be honest. Like even just as like individual, just like maybe like one model tech pieces, which is where a lot of the other ones. So you've got the Trog boss, you've got the little miniature heroes, you've got different types of other units. You can even put a unit of Trogs in like a different list, and you can get a lot of good synergy and a lot of good kind of buffs and uses. I don't see that happening with the Spiders, so I'm not really going to touch upon them just kind of at the moment. The last few scrolls I want to talk about is going to be the 2 different types of Squig Riders and the 2 different types of Trogs. So let's talk about it. So Squig Hoppers. This is the one that I have played against. And I've seen in a lot of lists, and they seem pretty bonkers. So let's talk about why they are good for 2 wounds and a 6-up save. Why are they good?
Just what we've touched on. They take the +1 attacks and the buffs that we spoke about, like putting them to improve them their rend by 1 with Godbapalooza. Okay, they've now got rend 2 on the squig attacks. 6 is to immortal wound, 6 is to wound or immortal wound in addition. Yeah, they're good. Like they can put out a lot of heart. Like right now, if you're building a squig army, you are really vulnerable to probably the boogeyman army that's out there right now with Lumineth, because their bravery is only 4. So it's very easy for a Lumineth army to reach out and make it so that you need to roll under a 4 for them to be able to do anything, really.
Yeah.
Now, you can still slap them on an objective, and they're still going to hold for points. You can still play for priority rolls and stuff like that. Maybe you get lucky. But the bravery 4 is a big deal right now, and I think that is probably the biggest weakness in the Squig book. If you're going for Squigs, in fact, if you're going for anything in this, like if you want to double reinforce any unit, even if you pick Trogs, they're bravery 5. Yeah. If you pick Boingrot Bounders, they're bravery 5. The only things in the game, the only things in this book that have high bravery are things like Fanatics or Manglers that are bravery 10. Everything else is really low bravery.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can beat everything except Lumineth, which is a good place to be in.
It's
just
for
not a
sure.
great place.
Yeah, it's not a great place. Yeah, because I mean, obviously with the bravery shenanigans as well, with them being so low, it does make that indomitable triumph really quite key in some cases as well, and
Yeah,
also
you've got
inspiring
Inspire.
presence. But there are so many things in the game that can shut off inspiring presence as well.
Commands, yeah.
I mean, you were talking about that spell in Lumineth where they can't do stuff if you roll over the bravery. But you could also just slap Howling Gale on them as well, make them not
You can, yeah.
do that, shoot off half the unit, and then the other half flees because they can't IP, and if you've got no Indomitable, that's them. So yeah, bravery, a really big weakness, but yeah, very glass hammery here, and yeah, they do the mortals when they move as well over things.
When they move over, yeah.
You can get them running and charging.
Interestingly, it's like you need to pick one unit, so you can't move over multiple units with like the models. So you can't go, these 10 are going to go over that unit and these 10 are going to go over that. You would only get 10 over the one unit you move over.
Yeah.
Boingrot Bounders are basically the same, but they've got 4-up save because they've got armor. They've got 1 extra bravery, and when they charge, they do mortals and a 4-up for each model within an inch of the enemy. So it's like a kind of mini impact.
Yeah.
And on the charge, they go to Rend 2, damage 2 as well with their lances, which is good.
Oh, cool. That's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah, but they benefit from the plus attack buffs as well. Their squig attacks do 6s to hit a mortal, and then if they've got the Loon Boss buff, it's 6s to wound a mortal in addition as well.
Nice.
So, yeah,
like it.
They are there's been triple reinforced units of them doing well at tournaments recently.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's good to see. Okay, cool. Because they start off as 5s, right? You get a 5 out of them. So
5 for 140, yeah.
140,
so it's
right.
4
goes up to 15.
15, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Okay. Right, let's talk about the Trogs. Trogs. So we've got Fellwater Trogs, Rockgut Trogs. Now, felt like the Rock Guts were probably the ones that won out in the last book. They were the ones that you could get them to slap really quite hard. And the biggest thing about them was their move. You know, they're just walking about. They don't have run and charge. They don't have fly. They don't all that kind of stuff. So they were like a redeploy away from just not working, basically, as an army, as a cohesive force. And now they've still got that kind of weakness there, but they are a lot more survivable. They still slap. And then now you've got the additional benefit of the Fellwater Troggles that have kind of seen a bit of a boost in their kind of output as well. So let's talk about that. So they've got Fellwaters, all flavours of Trog, they have regeneration, so they heal D3 wounds in the hero phase. Cool.
Yep.
This is not a regen of models though, it's just healing wounds, so you can't bring back models with this. The Fellwaters have also got terrible stench, so they subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks made with melee weapons by enemy units while they're within 3 inches of any friendly units with this ability. So pretty cool. Get these guys into combat, they can kind of put out this little -1 to hit kind of aura within 3 inches. But then the really nuts thing about them is their noxious vomit. So if any wounds caused by this unit's noxious vomit are allocated to enemy units and not negated, the unit is drenched in vomit until at the end of your next hero phase. While a unit is drenched in vomit, subtract 1 from rolls for attacks that target that unit and ignore positive modifiers for rolls for attacks that target that unit that cannot be drenched in vomit more than once at the same time. But holy moly!
It's so good, right?
No positive modifiers and subtract 1. So, oh jeez. So this is nuts, right?
So it's 6-inch range, and they move 6.
Yeah.
So you're threatening the redeploy out of shooting range, but it's very good for Unleash Hell. So like the one easy to pull off combo in my mind is you've got your Fellwater Trogs taking the charge that can unleash. You've got a Fungoid Cave Shaman that's hiding at the back that can pick an enemy unit and make them -1 save. And you've got a Gobapalooza that's buffed your Rockgut Trogs to be Rend 3 as well. So if we're keeping track, that's Kragnos, no save.
Holy moly.
Yeah, you just you just worsen the armor by 1 with the Mommet, which puts them to a 3-up. Troggoths would put them to a 4-up, and then your Trogs have got a Rend 3, which just give them nothing. You don't even need one of those buffs, and he's not getting a save.
that's nuts. The fact that it lasts until the end of your next hero phase as well.
Yeah.
So just insane. But yeah, you're right. There are limitations. 6-inch range, all that stuff. Like it's yeah, okay. Cool. And then we've got the rock guts. So these are kind of your damage dealers. They still got their throwing boulders for the mortals, so they can just chuck. Yeah, which is pretty cool. I like that. And then yeah, they've got a ward of a 5-up now. Awesome. On a 4-up, on a 4-up save unit with 4 wounds apiece, or +1 if they're in the light of the bad moon. Only 2 attacks though, which makes me kind of sad. It's kind of sad that they couldn't have just been 3, but yeah, but then you can, as I say, obviously this book has +1 attack up the wazoo, and you can get
imagine if it started on 3.
God, I know. And you've got 3s, -2, and is that 3 damage? I can see there. Yes, 3 damage. Yeah. Amazing.
Flat 3.
Love it. Very flat good. 3 with that as well, and yeah, Ren 2, pretty cool. So yeah, get these guys to Ren 3 with the Gobblepalooza. I love it. Nice, cool. And that's pretty much us, mate. The only other thing I was going to ask your opinion on was, what endless spell are you taking? Because we need to take one with Loonskin.
Yeah, I always start with the Malevolent Moon.
Okay.
And I think, like, is my list design aggressively pushing out turn 1 without the moon in order to, like, get a charge, like a running charge, thinking squigs wise. So Malevolent Moon gives the aura of the moon within 12 inches of it, as well as doing some chip mortal wounds. It's like 2 + D3 mortal wounds, I think.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Other than that, the spider one, Scuttle-Tide, is insane mortal wounds. So whenever it moves, you pick a unit within 6 inches. Roll 8 dice, 5-ups, mortal wounds.
It's 1 inch, Nathan.
1 inch.
1 inch, yes.
So I think it's the next part that's the 6 inches is at it. So whenever an enemy unit finishes a normal move, run, retreat, or charge within 6 inches of it, you roll again, and on a 5-up, it does mortal wounds. So it's quite easy to block up large swathes of the board, and you can kind of premeditate your opponent's like moves that they're going to do and put it in the way, and they need to unbind it. If you've got an Arachnarok within 12 inches of it, I think it says, if it's within 12, you need to roll a 9 plus unbind it, which makes it not the easiest thing to get rid of.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that sounds, I like that. So yeah, nice easy access to more mortals, or you've got yet another access to the light of the bad moon, which is we know is pretty good.
And they're sold out everywhere. So.
Yeah. Well, actually, Mark had snapped off the little moon off his shrine.
Off his shrine, yeah.
Like that's put it on a base. That's the bad moon. That's the malevolent moon spell. So nice, I like that. So yeah, cool. And then I think that's us, mate. We did also gloss over the Gargant. I don't care. I've not seen him.
Slightly better than your other Gargant.
Slightly better than the Macro Gargant, but yeah, definitely better than the drunk guy in the last book.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've not seen him in any list, and I don't plan on him being seen at any point in time. So yeah, so now what I'd like to do, just very very quickly, because I know we're closing in on the 2-hour mark, we are going to look at a list that you sent over to me today, Nathan. This is do we think this is the list? Do we think that this is, or along the lines of like the list that's been taken just now in terms of that kind of S tier? Yeah.
I think that this list is definitely very, very strong A tier. It's actually not the best list.
Oh,
this is the Gitz Enjoyers list I've sent you. This is the one. This is the one that has all the toys in it, so you can start cutting away some of the fat, and you can get like some serious filth in the book. But yeah. There's actually one thing that we've not touched, one war scroll we've not touched on, it's because we don't have a copy of it. It'll become apparent in the meta in the next couple of weeks, but Grinkrak's Loon Court.
Oh yeah.
Yes, he's the guy that gives fight on death to a unit at the start of the combat phase with him.
Oh yeah, that's I saw a tweet.
Just double the attacks.
I saw a tweet today, and it was somebody rattled off all of the attacks of the Squig herd, and then went, and that's fight on death, and I was like, I was like, sweet Jesus. So okay.
This list here, so you've got your Trog boss with the loon skin, the glowy house it, and he gets his free spell, which I've chosen the moon. Or is it Scuttletide? I can't remember.
You've got Scuttletide here, but again, you've got Scuttletide or Moon.
One or the other.
Yeah, one of the two. Right, cool.
You've then got your Fungoid Cave Shaman with the Moonface Mommet and Hand of Gork Tunnel Master. So you've got your delivery method for your -1 rend, and you've got Hand of Gork so you can toss other things about. Scragrot for the Moon and his awesome War Scroll. Yep. And then your yellow Lurka carrying Squig Boss to buff your Squig Hoppers or your Squig Herd.
Yeah.
So this one's just gone for the suicidal unit of Squig Herd and your 30 Hoppers.
Yeah.
I've patented a deployment for this army where you leave a 25mm gap between your shooters. You screen your army with your shooters, and you make it so that if you play against someone that can alpha strike you, they can't get within 3 inches of your Squig Herd. If you do get turn 1, you can then fit your Squig Herd through your screen because they're 25mm bases, so you can release the Squigs between your shooters. It's really cool.
Oh my god.
But yeah, the aim of the game is just launch the Squig Herd into your opponent's face with a 5-up ward early on in the game. If they die, they die. It's 360 points of your army. You're going to get half of it back later in the game on a 4+, so just throw it across the board, and when it goes in, it's gonna merc something. Yeah. And then your Squig Hoppers are your beta strike, your kind of counter punch. They can swing around the flank and get something. Spore Splatter Fanatics just for shenanigans, pre-game move. Yeah, they're good. Yeah.
So
it's a cool list. It's got all the toys.
I'm liking this. I'm seeing that you've sacrificed your Mangler in this list. Yeah. I can see. Yeah, didn't quite make the cut. But yeah, you can see all the toys. You can see all the stuff that you're basically trying to do here, which I really like. I can see the Spore Splatter basically protecting Scraggy really. And maybe some of your other little heroes as well if they're not within range of a battle line unit, or the Trog Boss as well, for that matter.
Even your Squig Hoppers, you can hide a whole unit of Squig Hoppers behind them quite reliably.
Wow, that's awesome.
It's like an 11-inch line or something. It's like 532 mils with an inch on either side of the extremity ones, and then there's the inch between each 32 mil as well. And it's if the line gets drawn within an inch of it, it's no line of sight. So like you can hide good chunks of your army, especially when you take into account how big the Loon Shrine is as well. So you can hide your heroes behind the Loon Shrine and then stick these to the side as well. So it's they're a good inclusion for only 90 points. They seem to fit. And I'm trying to see how many points is this list. It's a PDF I've not downloaded.
1980.
Yeah, 1980. So that is one of the higher ones. Like a lot of the lists I'm playing with, I'm aiming for like 1950, 1960 or whatever, and taking double Indomitable, just like going in dead low.
I like that.
It's still a good list at 1980. It's all right.
Yeah. Okay. Are we going to be seeing this list at any point in time at any big events, Nathan, or what are you thinking?
We need to see. I'm actually still waiting on stuff getting delivered, so I have absolutely no idea what I'm taking. I could very well be taking Crow Boys.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So
we're for the viewers, DJ grudged me because he's got the best army in the game. He's like, I'll just pick my victim.
Can I just say, I was baited into that grudge. Basically, I was just trying to say that look guys, Squigs are fine. It's all good. Like, it's fine, because really the most abusive thing out there is techless LRL. So it's all good. And then Phil said, well, put your money where your mouth is, DJ, come on in, grudge Nathan. I was like, okay then, cool, that's fine, we'll see what happens.
I missed that part of the conversation. I just blacked out driving home from uni, and I'm like, what?
The dizziness, not again. But yeah, no, so looking forward to it. So yeah, this is for Brewhammer, which is next weekend. So yeah, no, fingers crossed. We'll see if you can get your Gitz stuff in time. If not, I'm sure you'll rustle up some sort of jank to face me and other people there as well. But no, looking forward to that. And yeah, I think that takes us to the end there, mate. So that has been a very thorough look at the new Gitz. Definitely had a lot of good chat, good discussion, good thoughts. Can I get, if I was to ask you just for your closing statement, as it were, on the book, what's your kind of final thoughts on the Gitz? So
I think they are nerf proof. So what I mean by that is that there's some stuff in the book that is too good. It's too strong. If you're playing Gitz, accept that and just understand that it's gonna get brought back in line. But the book is very, very fun. It has loads of cool things in it that are still strong. So one of the biggest plays that I've made was with that Trog boss.
Yeah.
And that's not anywhere close to being at risk at getting nerfed. Like that is a really cool thing that's in the book. I think that if you're interested in Gloomspite Gitz, and I mean this, like, you can't be a tourist. There's a lot of tourists out there. You've got to be somebody that identifies with the army, like such as myself. That you've been on Gitz for a long time.
Gitz main.
Gitz main, yeah. You're going to have a good time. The book is very, very good, and I don't think that it can be nerfed into oblivion. I don't think it's one of these ones where they're going to make a couple of key changes and you're never going to see the book again. It's going to be around for a while, and like we're talking about one of its biggest prey being Lumineth. Lumineth have been consistently very good for a while now. Like they have been like 7 out of the top 10. They're probably going to get some changes themselves.
Yeah.
So any changes to them is just going to be like a pseudo buff for Gloomspite as well. So yeah, like I would say if you find yourself on Gitz, it's going to be a lot of fun.
No, for sure. Just awesome model range. Well, I think one of the best model ranges in the game. Huge variance in the different lists that you can run, and as you've said, like even in some of the weaker stuff in the book, it can still be classed as like an A tier. You can still build an A tier army out of that stuff as well, which is just awesome to see. But yeah, I think there's some things that need toned down. I think they will get toned down, and I think that it's great to see the Gitz actually, have some teeth. As it were, balls, teeth and balls. So no, I'm really looking forward to see him on the table. Maybe I'm just saying that through the lens of a Lumineth player.
I was going to say, you don't really have much to worry about.
Sure, there's lots of people that are going, I never want to see this on the table.
They will get some changes, and it'll be fine. It'll be good for the game when they do get changed. They are a bit too oppressive against some armies. They just can't play into it. Which isn't good for the game, but that will get fixed. So if you are playing them, don't feel disheartened. Don't take the hate that is directed towards them to heart, and just enjoy it.
Absolutely.
Us Gitz players are owed it. Like, we've played nothing but a bad army for years, and we now get to reap the benefits of having a strong army. Exactly.
No, absolutely. And yeah, just own it, guys. Own the little bouncing balls of death. And if you can, I have actually seen them. Did you see my post? Did you see I added you on Facebook? There was 20 squig dice going online.
I've not been able to find one for less than 45 quid.
The low price. Listen, these were the low price of about 80 quid, I think. So if you could find any, but yeah, I think definitely if you're going to be a squig main, you better get some squig dice, mate. Otherwise, you're definitely getting laughed at the table. Cool. So thanks so much, man. Thanks for joining us again for the wee chat there. I hope everyone, the viewers, everyone at home have enjoyed. We've just had a few folk to catch up on. Yeah, we've got Stephen Dale saying cheers, guys, most enjoyable. Thanks, Stephen. Thank you very much for joining us. And yeah, if you've got any further thoughts or questions, whatever, please just comment down below. And now also I can remind everyone about the monthly giveaway. Please make sure to comment in the comment section after the video is finished with the phrase "I answered the call," and you will get your name entered into the monthly giveaway, where you could win a bunch of prizes. So we've got movement trays from Minimag Tray, we've got tokens from Pro Painter Studios, and a box of minis of your choice. Start collecting box of your choice from Accent Gaming and Dunfermline. So last month when it was Cara, and she's reaped the benefits there, and we need a new winner for the month of February. So this is our second last video for the month. So we've got a 40k battle report happening on Saturday, which is going to be cool. So there's only 2 more chances to get those comments in. So make sure you got the comments, guys. You have to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment with "I answered the call," and it gets you in there. So yeah, and there's just one more last thanks as well. I've recently had quite a few you new Patreon members as well. So thank you so much for that as well. We've got Grant Fraser, Sean McKechnie, Stephen Dale, David Lyle as well, also recently joined as well. So it's huge support for me, giving me your hard-earned cash, guys. So thanks so much for your support. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy. And that's us. So anything else you'd like to say before we sign off, Nathan?
No, that's it. Just a own selfish plug for myself, obviously.
Oh, go for it, yeah.
Take DJ's Patreon out, but I've started coaching with Darren Watson's Onwards AOS. You can find that on Twitter and Patreon as well.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I'll grab the link off you and I can stick it in the video description as well.
I'll pass it on.
Cheers, man. Awesome. That's cool. And yeah, I would definitely recommend guys to check that out. Nathan knows his stuff, and yeah, if he's coaching, especially along with the likes of Darren as well, that'll be very worthwhile. So yeah, cool. I think that's us, man. So without further ado, we shall bid everyone adieu. Please make sure to tune in next time and answer the call. So thanks so much, guys. We'll see you later. Bye bye.